Hello, Media Studies. My name is Michael Wilden, or Waz, and I'm here to talk to you about the cognitive benefits of video games. But before I get into it, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I have been playing video games since I was a wee little lad. I first began on the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, and moved on to the SNES and the Super Nintendo 64. Throughout the years, I've played games on every gaming console that has been released, but the PC is what I've spent the most time on. This picture right here is of my NPC from a game that I have played a lot, in which I'm known as Wad. Okay, so to preface, what are video games? My definition of video games is that they're generally considered a fun leisure activity that offers players an interactive and rewarding escape from reality. Now, in my opinion, that definition really captures the essence of what video game entertainment really is. One thing that makes video games stand out from other sources of media entertainment is that they're interactive. Video games require input from the player in order to progress. And in turn, this makes the player feel consequential in their actions. Video games are highly rewarding because they are structured in a way that provides constant feedback in the form of experience, level ups, new items, unlocked content, etc., which repeatedly provide the player with the sense of accomplishment. And finally, video games can be so engaging and immersive. Whether it be a hyper-realistic world or a fantasy world, games generally tend to alter the player's state of consciousness. This can result in a lost sense of time, characterized by a state of flow and an escape from reality. Okay, while this all sounds great, why is it that the topic of video games can be such a controversial issue? So often you hear about how games are a waste of time, or that they can make you lazy or even violent. Well, the topic of video game violence was popularized after the Columbine shootings. Upon investigation, it was discovered that the terrorists that carried out the attacks were avid players of violent shooting games. The media assumed that it was the games that made these kids violent. This perception is what sparked the beginning of the now massive field of research into how video games affect cognition. The general consensus in the literature now is that video games in fact do not make you violent, and in some studies it has been shown that violent video games, especially ones that require teamwork, can actually lead to higher rates of pro-social behavior. This leads me to the main topic of this presentation. What are the positive effects of playing video games? Specifically, are there any benefits to cognition, or in other words, can video games actually make you smarter? Multiple studies have compared gaming populations to non-gaming populations. They found that, on average, experienced gamers score better on measures of problem solving, reaction time, hand-eye coordination, memory, attention and concentration, brain processing speed, and multitasking. However, it is super important to note that this does not prove that video games make you smarter or that they produce benefits to cognitive ability. These studies are comparative and correlational in nature, and correlation does not imply causation. To get an understanding of the real effect of video games on cognition, we need to look at video game training studies on participants that have never played video games before and compare the results of them playing over an extended period of time to a control group who, for example, just watched TV for the same amount of time. The first topic we're going to talk about is vision. Most of the early research into the benefits of video games was done on action games because they generally require large amounts of visual attention and fast reactions. Additionally, the effect on vision is arguably less complex than studying something multifaceted like, say, decision making. In these studies, non-gamers played action games over the course of a few weeks to months, and results were compared to a control group. It was found that action game training can increase contrast sensitivity, which is the ability to recognize minute differences in contrast. Also, spatial attention, which is the ability to focus on specific stimuli in a visual environment, and benefits to the ability to locate objects in the visual field were observed, and improvements were shown to visual spatial working memory, the amount of things you can keep in your immediate visual memory. Pretty interesting. A study by Kuhn et al. Looked at the effects of playing Super Mario 64. Participants played for 30 minutes a day, every day for 2 months. Structural MRI images were taken before and after training, and the results showed significant increases to gray matter volume in areas related to memory formation, spatial navigation, fine motor skills, and strategic planning. Attention. The effects of video game playing on attention has become quite a controversial topic now with the rise of ADHD in countries with high internet connectivity. In other words, countries with strong gaming culture. I won't get into this topic too much here, but I'd just like to point out that much of the research on the topic has shown that games can actually improve attention. But because games are so engaging, exciting, and rewarding, people who play a lot of games may find that many activities in the real world, school, are less exciting because they don't provide the constant feedback that video games do. Research into the effects of strategy games has only recently increased in popularity. Strategy games have been shown to improve participants' performance at measures of critical thinking, problem solving, and executive control. This may not be a surprise to you because these abilities are quite important in playing these kinds of games. And another example, in a study on older adults, playing real-time strategy games was shown to improve working memory and even attenuate cognitive decline. Another effect of video games that I believe is often overlooked is the psychosocial benefits. The bottom line is that video games are often played with friends. Whether it's real-life friends coming together to play, or getting on Discord together, or just friends you meet in the virtual world. Video game culture allows gamers to group up and roleplay together, or solve problems, or compete against one another. There's been a huge rise in esports lately, and just look at the picture on the right. That's the League of Legends World Championship, which fills stadiums every year. That's not the only game to do that. Video games offer players something to talk about. The virtual world can work as an anonymous platform for players to develop their social skills without the anxiety associated with the real world. Now, finally, with all that being said, I think it's important to note that while video games can offer players many benefits to cognition and can even make you smarter in some areas, that it is possible to have too much of a good thing. Even too much water can kill you, for example. Sitting for an extended period of time can have detrimental effects on your physical and mental health. Plus, if you spend all your time gaming, you're going to miss out on many aspects of life that are important for your career, relationships, and personal development. So, moderation is key. So don't play for too long, take breaks, and remember to go outside. Get the best of both worlds. Thank you.